Hello, I'm Dr. Yvette Rubidoux, and I'm a member of the Rosebud Sioux tribe, and I'm also Standing Rock Sioux. And I am the Vice President for Research and Director of the Policy Research Center at the National Congress of American Indians. And I'm pleased to provide an update today on the NCAI Policy Research Center. So our mission is about getting tribal nations the data they need to make strategic, proactive policy decisions for their communities. And our objectives are about research, providing research and data to tribal nations on priority issues, strategy to help tribal nations use data in a strategic, forward-focused manner, and sovereignty, enabling tribal nations to exert more effective sovereignty over data and research. Here are our team members. I'm the Vice President for Research and Director. Gwen Evans-Lomayezva is a researcher, and Sierra Watt is a research associate. In terms of research, we continue to publish a weekly COVID-19 data situation summary of publicly available data on IHS and CDC cases and deaths, now on Tuesdays, since IHS is now only publishing case data once a week. Fortunately, we are seeing overall improving trends in cases in Indian country. We also provide these reports to the NCAI Executive Committee weekly, along with COVID-19 news updates. We recently started tracking COVID-19 vaccine data, which shows that while some tribal nations are doing an amazing job, we're still not where we need to be for all of Indian country, and the vaccination trends continue to slow down. We will continue to keep tracking COVID-19 data to make sure that we can see if any new surges in cases happen as early as possible. The impacts moving forward may be more regional or influenced by the durability of the vaccines and/or new variants that might be able to escape the vaccines. Also, in terms of new research, we recently released policy recommendations with our Robert Wood Johnson State Data Collaborative on state data disaggregation that encourages consistent data collection at the state level, using consistently the term American Indian Alaska Native, and for states to enter into agreements with tribal nations on collecting, analyzing, and reporting tribal health data. We are working also on a new project funded by Lumina to develop an online curriculum to teach college students about respectful research in partnership with tribal nations, so they can learn these concepts early in their careers. And we are hosting a student session at midyear in collaboration with the Youth Commission. We have new juvenile justice data resources also from the Annie E. Casey Foundation grant of NCAI, including a landscape analysis of American Alaska Native juvenile justice data. We developed resource materials for the tribal consultation sessions on the 2020 census privacy methods that involved analysis of data demonstration products and metrics. And we worked to help translate that complicated information into understandable formats, including GIS maps. And we also helped with the recent COVID-19 task force survey of the regions. In terms of strategy, we are holding our 16th annual Tribal Leader Scholar Forum today as a virtual event, and with its usual content, all here on Zoom. We did release a call for presentation proposals, and we now have this agenda for today for this second General Assembly, and we also have 3 breakout sessions after this session. We unfortunately decided not to hold the poster session virtually, but we'll hold it in the future. The purpose of the forum is to provide space for researchers to present and discuss their research and data findings with tribal leaders and other attendees. And there is time built into the agenda for this discussion and exchange, so I hope you will participate. In terms of sovereignty, we successfully developed a virtual version of the Holding Space, a guide for partners in tribal research, our project with the discussion guide and the Tribal Research Futures Game. But since our in-person trainings were put on hold due to COVID-19, we really needed to make that virtual version. The purpose of this training is to strengthen tribal academic research partnerships to be more successful. We held a training with physicians at Massachusetts General Hospital in April with our first virtual session, and we just recently, this Friday before the mid-year conference, we held a training also as our Data Institute for the Tribal Leaders Scholar Forum. We have also been working on tribal consultation issues related to research and data to help protect the sovereignty of tribal nations. We've been very involved in tribal consultation on the new data privacy methods that the U.S. Census Bureau plans to use for the 2020 census that may make tribal data inaccurate, especially for small, rural, and remote tribal nations. We developed resources over the past 2 years and released some new resources prior to the tribal consultation last month, which was the last opportunity to provide input before the U.S. Census Bureau made the decision on the redistricting data. Unfortunately, that tribal consultation wasn't very meaningful because it was too complicated. And even so, we heard tribes did submit letters similar to the recommendations in our NCAI letter. And fortunately, the final decision by the Census Bureau included making American and Alaska Native tribal land data more accurate. However, we won't know how much more accurate until August when the data is released, but we are really hopeful that our advocacy helped. We will let you know the impact when available. We also have worked on tribal issues with the National Institutes of Health, and we are really glad that Chairperson Payment now serves as a delegate on the NIH Tribal Advisory Committee. So many of these issues involve supporting and protecting the sovereign rights of tribal nations. This slide lists some of the current topics, and there are 2 tribal consultations that have upcoming deadlines in August, and tribes will have opportunities also to discuss these issues in the ongoing HHS regional consultation meetings. And make sure to stop by our virtual exhibit to learn more about our resources. So at this mid-year conference, we have a virtual exhibit in the resources page on the conference platform. And we won't be doing Zoom sessions like we did last year, but the PDF document in our exhibit section has descriptions and links to all of our recent resources. So we encourage you to check out our website for publications, past webinar recordings, project information, research recommendations for tribal consultations with federal agencies, and information about our Tribal Leaders Scholar Forum. Make sure to also follow us on Twitter. We are publishing our mid-year research update with a summary of our recent activities, the latest research events, and research grant announcements. And it's available at the exhibit on the resource page or in our publications page on our website. And finally, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. And thank you for attending the NCAI Mid-Year Conference and the 16th Annual Tribal Leader Scholar Forum.